Hi, and welcome to TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers, a program of educators worldwide. I'm your host today, Melanie Gobert.
Hello, everyone. This is Melanie Gobert, your host for today's episode of TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers. Joining us today is Noha Khafagi from the American University in Cairo. She works in the English Language Instruction Department, and she's a Senior Instructor II at the university. Welcome, Noha.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a
Now,
pleasure to be with you today.
Your topic is self-expression characterizes tomorrow's classroom. Well, you have to tell me, what do you mean by self-expression?
All right. Well, I just want to start before explaining what self-expression is. I just want to say that it's an excellent way of allowing students to express themselves. And the idea came to me when I discovered, excuse me, that I'm teaching Generation Z. So they have grown up as digital natives, and they know that the world's knowledge is literally at their fingertips. They think, why should they bother to pay attention to a single expert in front of them, trying to impart knowledge into their heads? So I thought of self-expression because it's a way to engage and inspire them. So I turned their passion for self-expression to my advantage. And basically, self-expression is a highly effective way to engage and inspire the students through employing critical thinking skills. It allows students to reflect and express their own beliefs and thoughts and provide a means of validating their self-concepts through classroom interactions and discussions. It also reinforces the course learning outcomes, such as learner independence, integrity, critical thinking, intellectual curiosity, and civic engagement. Self-expression helps students develop creativity and communicate their ideas to others by employing the higher order thinking skills and producing something that reinforced what they have learned in my classroom. So I'd give you an
What is self-expression? What do you mean? How do they manifest this?
All right, very well. This is done through posters. Okay, so to ensure the success of utilizing self-expression, as I said, self-expression, it allows students, as the dictionary says, it is the expression of your personality, your feelings, your opinions. So very rarely do teachers ask students to express their own feelings about a text. I'll give you an example. But first, to ensure this success of the self-expression, students pick a topic of interest, a feeling or a word that is related to the course content. And I'm going to give you an example. Then students are asked to think about the issue that affected them the most. They are encouraged to start with one emphatic statement, like the art statement, for example. And teachers stress the fact that the students need to explore, reflect, and project their ideas. So, for example, after studying Antigone by Sophocles in one of my core curriculum courses, Antigone is a play presenting many themes such as defiance of authority, leadership, tyranny, human rights, abuse, character defect, and women's position. And also we studied John Stuart Mill's essay on liberty. A number of my students use those texts as a springboard for discussing gender discrimination at home and at school. So they connect this to their lives and they express what they have, has been inhibited and what has not come out. All right. The inhibition of one's individual freedom, for example, as well as parental and governmental authority. But this works very nicely. There are other advantages of this. Did you get the idea of self-expression? It's they're expressing their feelings that are triggered by something they take in the course.
Okay, and usually it manifests itself in a poster that they're assigned to.
Yeah, they find a poster, either they draw it or they find an image on the net, and then they start talking without putting any text. They start expressing their feelings that are related. So you see, they're talking about current things, their feelings now, and they are triggered by the content of the course, by what they study in the course. So this has proven to be very successful because it creates learning activities that are complex. And complex activities, of course, are challenging and engaging and stimulating. And the idea is to engage the students. They also minimize opportunities for free riding. So the students cannot let others do the work for them and benefit from a group grade. So everybody is expressing their own feelings, and there's no cheating. There's no AI. It averts the use of AI because they're expressing it's genuine. They're expressing their feelings about what they have learned. Also, it builds many opportunities for discussion. And of course, rich discussions connect students with the experiences of others and engage them deeply in a shared intellectual experience. So they all, are benefiting from the course. And of course, it focuses on critical thinking, and they find new meanings through new ideas and insights by others and themselves. They develop accuracy, they develop a deep understanding of self and others, and it increases coping skills, and sometimes it could be therapeutic. And it encourages choice in the classroom, which is extremely important. And how do they benefit? How do students respond to this task? They feel they have a sense of achievement and gain confidence when they think, this is my work, everything from the thought process to the creative process. And they realize how self-expression empowers them and to be content creators, not just passive recipients of information in the classroom. It's proven to be very, very successful, and I've been using this technique for so many years, and it works very nicely.
Okay, so just some practical questions. I mean, I think it's a great idea, especially in the age of AI.
Exactly.
I kind of get a sense that, things like academic writing or report writing are going to become less important, but things like creative writing and poetry and script writing are going to become more important.
Yeah.
But just for a practicality of how you do this. So you talked about the students have to read Antigone and you give them a quote from it and they make one poster about that quote and they just...
No, I don't give them a quote. We read the whole text and we discuss it in class. And then they make like an art statement. They make the statement itself that has affected them deeply. All right, like I said, for example, if you're talking about on liberty or you're talking about women's position up till now in the Arab world, for example, they talk about curfews, and they say curfew is allowed, curfew, boys are allowed to come back home late, but girls, their curfew is at 10 in the Middle East, for example. So they get affected and they start talking about their lives, their own lives. So the text becomes meaningful. The text inspires them to express themselves. So they understand the text better because they're engaged in what they're saying.
So they're going to be assessed on their reading by designing this poster, and then you get the poster and you grade it, or they have to do a presentation on the poster?
They have to do a presentation. A presentation for 5 minutes. And it has to be connected to one of the texts that we take in throughout the semester. And they say how they got inspired by this, and they connect it to their lives.
And do they
give-
present in front of other classmates
Yes,
or?
yes, they do. And that's one very good thing, because, you know, the shy student has an opportunity to say something because it's coming out of their own expressions and feelings. So it's not like it's not canned. They are not prepared, and they don't, you know, learn something or memorize something to come to say into class. It's coming out of their own feelings.
And so how many times would they have to present this in class over a
Only
semester?
once. This is only once, done once, yeah, throughout the semester. And then it helps them later. They are required to write responses or reflections. They can incorporate this in the reflection that they have to write, a reflection of 700 words. Again, this has proven to be successful because it averted the use of AI, you know, and yeah.
I think you're definitely onto something.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you for joining us today, Noah. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed being with you, and I look forward to many other interviews.
This has been Melanie Gobert, your host for today's episode of TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us today. Share with us how you are using these tips. Leave us a comment or voice message on social media or at ttelt.org. Thanks for joining this episode of TTELT, brought to you by educators worldwide. Follow, like, and subscribe to TTELT on your social media, and try a new teaching tip today.